Greetings wherever you are watching us from. This is Alpes One Radio. Yes, this is your Queen V. I'm the host. I'm here with this amazing woman. She's called Lindora. Lindora, you are welcome to Alpes One Radio.
Thank you very much, Queen V. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, good to see you. And please, how was your trip?
My trip was good. Good, exciting, tiring, all of it.
Yeah, I bet it's a long journey. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, once again, if you are watching, this is Alpes One Radio. Yes, we are here with our wonderful producer, Mr. Enrest. And yeah, today the program is all about the women and the children. That's what we are going to talk about today. And I'm here with Lindora, so it's going to be amazing. Please just stay tuned and listen to us. Okay. Uh, Ms. Lindora, recently included UN Commission on the Status of Women summit in New York brought together global leaders, activists, and organizations dedicated to advancing gender equality and women's empowerment. So, among those attending were leaders from the Liberia Diaspora Dialogue Women and Youth Forum, who convened on the sidelines of summit to reflect on past lessons and strategy for the future. So I know one of those leaders is our wonderful woman here. Yes, Landora. She's passionate advocate for women rights and youth empowerment. So she's fresh from New York. She joined us on Focus on Women today to share key takeaway from the summit discussion, pressing issues affecting women and youth, and outline the next steps for the movement. Miss Landora, we and other women representing you and the other women representing the Dora Producer Dialogue Women Youth Forum were in New York fortnight ago for the fifth season of LDDWYF. This was on the side lot of the 60th ninth seasons of the Commission on the Status of Women. That is the CSW 69 first. It is habit that LDDWYF attends every CSW season. Is that correct?
Well, I would just, it's partly correct, but there's more to it. So thank you very much for having me this morning.
You're welcome.
Again, my name is Lindora Howard-Diawara. I am the founder and executive director of the Business for Peace Community Development Foundation. We work to promote women and girls empowerment, build their capacities as leaders to promote change within their communities. And so, as a foundation, one of our signature events is the Liberia Diaspora Dialogue Women and Youth Forum. It's an initiative that was started in 2020, and this year was the fifth edition. So the foundation holds that activity. As you read, there are people that come from Liberia. The goal of that of LDDWYF is to create a space for women on the continent, specifically in Liberia, but also from here in the US to convene. But as we went through the first phase, we realized that the issues of Liberian women are the issues of women. And so, even though it's called the Liberian Diaspora Dialogue Women and Youth Forum, we do have participants, but a huge focus is placed on Liberia because that's where, as a foundation, we work outside of the US. And the whole idea is that when we do the talking, we want to be able to do the work on the ground. And that ground is in Liberia. That ground is in Columbus. It's everywhere else we find ourselves as in terms of operations when it comes to the foundation. So yeah, the LDDWYF did bring people to New York. There were delegates from Liberia. We're hoping to have delegates from here in Columbus. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, but we had a few people online. But there were also others that joined us in New York.
Thank you, ma'am. So, Ms. Landora, take us back to the previous ones for the LDDWYF has attended previously. Describe how they went.
Thank you very much. It's an interesting question because 5 years, it's 5 years now.
Wow.
And time flies. And when I look back, I just smile because prior to starting in 2020, one of the reasons why, or the main reason why we had this is because I've been in the women's advocacy space for a long time. And before coming to the US, I was a very active member of civil society in Liberia, in the West African region. And the Commission on the Status of Women, like you rightly said, this year we celebrated 69th, the 69th session. Globally, every year in March, the session is held in New York. So next year, March, will be the 70th session.
Wow.
And so I had the opportunity throughout my work in Liberia to attend these meetings. As a participant, then what I realized was that whenever we came to New York and went back home, there wasn't a space to discuss what took place in New York or to even proffer some recommendations in terms of actions that needed to be done on the ground in Liberia. And so that was an observation. When I moved here to the US, I knew about the CSW. So my very first year, I looked forward to attending the CSW. But as I was excited, everybody else I talked to about the CSW, they would be like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "Excuse me? You don't know about the CSW?" My first state was Indiana.
Mm.
People that didn't know, those that I talked to, whenever I came to Columbus, people that didn't know. When I went to the CSW in New York and I spoke to other women living in New York, they didn't know. So after the foundation was created and planning to come to attend the CSW, I thought, well, I shouldn't be stepping out there alone. Something needs to happen considering this question that has been on my mind in terms of why don't people in other US states know about the CSW? Why aren't people having follow-up actions when they leave New York? So then came the idea to maybe create something at the CSW, especially under the umbrella of the foundation. And so that's when we thought to develop this initiative. And because we wanted the full participation of women in Liberia, we then reached out to the Women NGO Secretariat, called WONGOSO for short, and said, we have this idea, we're developing this program, but we need a partner on the ground that can help mobilize women to support this work or to even attend. And so that became our strategic partner, one, in terms of carrying out this activity. We also thought to engage with the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. By that time, it was just the Ministry of Gender and Development. So what happened was that they also supported. So we then planned that first activity. Just the day before I could board my flight to go to New York, the meeting got canceled because of COVID.
Wow.
So we didn't have that very first meeting. And
Right.
so what we thought to do, because it was also, I think it was the fifth anniversary of the organization. So we then did like a kind of virtual and push it to New York to December. And so afterward, that was the first, our first meeting didn't happen as we had planned. But the interesting thing about it was that we were going to just meet with the Liberian delegation, see how many people we could mobilize in the room, in the space. For the second meeting, because we went online and I saw that a lot of people were anxious to participate, we decided for the first official one,
Mm.
we will, do a hybrid. And COVID didn't happen. So we did it online again, year three. Then it opened up, then that changed. So we were in New York and we had people in rural Liberia joining via Zoom. That was the most exciting thing for me. And it continues to be because one thing that I always remember is that women that I work with in rural Liberia, one of them had said, are you saying that this meeting that everyone have to go to Monrovia to get a visa
Mm.
to go to the US to attend, that is what Lindora is bringing to our community? And that really moved me. I still kind of hear that voice in my ear all the time. And what we've seen since then, that the women in central Liberia, in rural Liberia, have even been more excited about participating via Zoom because they realize that they're connecting with other women in the US and other parts of the world. So it's been exciting. So every year has been different. This year was also very different. we had our first big international group
Mm.
come. That were like, they had their secretary general, the International Women's Peace Group. They were there, 8 of them. Our minister of gender has also been involved, and it's every year is different, and so we are excited and look forward to having a different year next year.
Yeah, I hope to be there too.
Oh,
And
we would love that.
I think the women are all proud of you,
Thank you.
standing out for all of them. You are
I
doing great.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to ask briefly, come back to the Liberian Disposal Dialogue Women and Youth Forum for the sake of our listeners who are coming across this for the first time. What is the LDDWF all about, and when was it created? For what mission, vision, objective, and etc.
Okay, like I said, I know that the talk is long, but basically it's to create that space
Okay,
for women, because what happens in New York, 2 weeks, there are hundreds, thousands of people in New York from all around the world.
great.
The Commission on the Status of Women is that moment that the world takes to take stock
Hmm.
on the progress being made toward the promotion of women empowerment and gender equality.
Okay.
So you have all governments, 189 governments
Mhm.
that had signed on to the Beijing Platform for Action, for example, this year. That action plan is a strategy document, one that commits countries to say we agree to
Mhm.
promote women, gender equality and women empowerment. So the Status of Women meeting creates that space for governments to come and report, work along with civil society to come and report on the progress that they are being made. So it's an interesting time. So there are hundreds of meetings happening, excuse me, within the UN building, the United Nations uh, headquarters building, but around there are also hundreds of meetings happening. So this Liberia Diaspora Dialogue on Women Forum was Women and Youth Forum was created as a space for others, because to access the UN building, you need special pass. If you don't have a pass, you cannot access that building. So the other meetings that happen around the UN building is an opportunity for civil society itself to organize. Though whether you have pass or not, you can attend those meetings. So to raise or elevate the Liberian women or African voices in a special space. That's why this was created, for us to come, talk about our issues of concern, talk about what we need to do as civil society actors to advance women empowerment and gender equality, talk about what we've done, what we need to do right, and what we need to do going forward. It's just a space to talk, but strategize for action.
Thank you, Brother
Welcome.
Lindora. Okay, so which briefly share the network tracks record. Can you share your network track record for us?
You mean the foundation?
Yes.
Okay, well, the foundation turns 10 at the end of this year.
Wow.
And it's an exciting moment. I'm hoping that we can have
Yeah,
a
it
lot
is.
of stories to share at the end. It's in December. Stories to share in December. It's going to be exciting. We have a lot of things happening,
Okay.
but it's been 10 years of trying to grow an organization as the visionary founder and executive director. It's been tough,
It is.
but it's been a great
Imagine.
learning experience.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to figure out who's who, where, who you can connect with, and not just connecting with everybody, making sure that your vision align or your work aligns,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to sell that story and get people on board. It's been hard work. But as an activist myself, I come with a huge network. Like I mentioned, I've been in this workspace for, I would say, about 27 years now, if not 27.
Great.
I've been working with youth, with women, with different stakeholders. And
Wow.
so I have a big network.
Mm.
And moving to the United States for me, maintaining my network outside of doing what I needed to do for me as an individual, for my family,
Mhm.
as a professional, outside of that, as a professional mainly, maintaining my network was my number one goal. So I would say if I were to go back and track work with phone companies that I've worked with, just I would say I've spent so much money just on phone calls, because for a
Wow.
good while, for years, I made sure to call certain people every month, to email them, to touch base. So just maintaining that. So as an individual, I have a network of women leaders. I have a network of grassroots women. I have a network of professionals. And so that network came with me to the foundation. So selling the idea of the foundation to them, engaging with them and encouraging them to share that information also have now extended. So as an extension of my personal network, for the foundation, we are registered in Columbus, Ohio, Ohio generally. Sorry, not Columbus, Ohio, but Ohio. We are registered in Liberia. We are also registered in New York. Last year, we launched the Columbus Women Connect, that has women leaders and individuals who are planning on leading. We have about 60 of them that is within our chat room. We are currently in the phase of validating our membership, but we've been meeting and planning in New York. We were planning to launch the Women United for Change. That's another women's collective in New York with Liberian and non-Liberian women. Unfortunately, that didn't happen because just planning, people got caught up with work, some were traveling, so we've postponed that. In Liberia, we've launched the Bonkante Women and Youth Development Corporation. That's going to be like, it's like a cooperative, but it brings together everybody. Not just it's a corporation because it brings together farmers, youth leaders, women leaders, whether you're in the health sector, whatever sector. Once we bring all of those people together and look at the different sectors, then we work through those leaders and try and see how, as women leaders, we can impact those. So the network has broadened. We have connections with government. With our government there, we have connections with people in government spaces here in New York as well. So yeah, it's growing.
Yeah, you are doing a very good job with all this networking by yourself.
Well, I would say, yeah, as the leader, it's always tough, but I've over the time had the opportunity to have volunteers
Okay.
to join me. Is not 100%. Some of them would maybe give like maybe 30 minutes a month, 1 hour, 2 3 hours. We have board members who also volunteer, and I'm very much appreciative of their support because I may be the visionary, I may have everything, a lot of things on my mind, but legally we need a board. We need team members to support me, so just being there and making sure that I'm doing things the right way has also been very helpful. So I'm also grateful to have them in my corner.
Yeah, I think they are grateful to have you too as a leader. So, which organization within this network attend the CWL 69?
Okay, so this year we had collaborators, and I mentioned the Women NGO Secretariat of Liberia. So they have been our strategic collaborators since we started off because they are like the umbrella organization of Liberian women organizations in Liberia. Okay.
Okay.
Not all women's organizations are members of Wongoso, but it's a bigger umbrella because you have a lot of women. So Wongoso was a collaborating partner. We had Action Aid Liberia. They work to support women as well. They kind of support and promote women empowerment, women and girls empowerment initiatives. They do a lot of work with young people. They also reached out to us and said, we'd like to collaborate. And I said, hop on board.
Right.
So they came on board. We also have Medical Liberia. Medical Liberia work on issues of land rights, also supporting women empowerment, land rights, health, women's rights issues generally. They also engage with young people. They were on board. We had officially, since we've been having this, every year is like become a tradition, which we are very, very grateful for, that our Minister of Gender, Children, and Social Protection from Liberia, once she comes to New York, the ministry officially opens the forum. So we had our minister and deputy ministers in the hall. And I also mentioned that we had the International Women's Peace Group. That's a group from South Korea. They, before this meeting, they went scouting for partners and they reached out to me and said, hey, can we meet? And we started meeting. And then the next thing is like they're hoping to have us collaborate. They want a partnership. And they were excited. They came to our meeting. 8 of them, they had the Secretary General. We are currently discussing partnership opportunities to help expand. They do work on women and peace building as well. But one of the signature programs or initiative is to promote peace education. And as peace builders, peace education is at the core of what we do. So the International Women's Peace Group was there. The Bonkante Women and Youth Development Corporation had their in-person meeting in Bangabong County in Liberia. We with a Zoom screen where everybody could watch what was happening in the room in New York and then participate. Action Aid Liberia, when they realized that we were having that in-person meeting in Bond County, they decided, hey, this is something that we too can do. So we want to have an in-person meeting with young people. So they worked along with Wangosol and brought a lot of young people in another space that was in Monrovia. So you had 3 in-person meetings connecting people via Zoom. And so there were about at least 300 people, because from the numbers we hear from Bond County, Action Aid Liberia alone had over 200 young people. Bond County had mobilized about 200 people. There were like about 40 of us in the hall in New York. So it was just beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful it is. I can imagine. So, according to your concert notes, BWYDC had to mobilize across all districts in Bong County to host series of activities, including fundraising, right? At least 200 participants were expected to gather at the Bong County Women's Center and join the discussion via Zoom. Was this still in the line with the CWS 69, and how did this go?
Okay, so that's the one I just mentioned about the Banga Bond County.
Yes.
It went pretty well, except that they didn't get to do like the fundraising component. And why that didn't happen was because through our planning, we get them involved. And even though we, as part of our model of empowering women and youth, we don't do things for them.
Okay.
We all know that CSW comes and they all know that they have to lead their initiatives on the ground. We provide guidance. We provide support. We have an account. As executive director, I'm a signatory to that account, but we have 2 other signatories in country. So they submit their plan. They say what it is they want to do. We discuss the theme together. We discuss the dates. So as part of planning the dates, we have been discussing the dates since September. Now I've been here for a good while now, about 10 years, and I have kind of lost track of all of the national holidays in Liberia. So it turns out that that day was Decoration Day. That's the day that people go and pay respect to the dead, clean the graves and everything. And people basically have forgotten about that. So 2 days to the meeting, or about 3 days to the meeting, our communications officer raised the issue. He's like, "Oh, Lynn, it's going to be Decoration Day." And I said, "Well, too bad. We can't change the date because our room has been booked, catering has been paid for,
Right.
and everything. So what are we going to do about it?" So I said, "I will let the Banga people know." So because of that, they still said they have mobilized. People would just try to adjust, do their stuff earlier, because the good thing was that the meeting on their side was in the afternoon. And so people went to their graves, did what they did. Those who traveled, we said to them, get on Zoom from wherever you are. So basically, that's what happened. But they didn't do the fundraising because of the holiday.
Okay, thank you so much.
Can you hear me? This is off. Okay.
Okay, thank you. You placed the CWL 69 under the theme Drawing Season from the Past, Reimagine the Future, and Re-Celebrating for the Enlargement, Engagement, and Impact. Was this the theme of the season itself, or the one designed by the LDDWYF?
It was the one for the LDDWYF. The CSW has a different theme, but overall, what we do is that we align with that. And their team was most looking at all women, girls, again, all tied to the issues of women empowerment. And so this year, what CSW did was they were also taking stock. They were like, 69 years we've been doing CSW. What do we do differently? How do we want to move forward? So they were also at a moment of reflection. And so that's yeah. So that was the thing for our session.
Okay, thank you. What past are you referring to in the team, and can you describe how that past look like?
The past of 5 years
Okay.
of discussing the past of 5 years ago. What issues were women grappling with? What issues are women grappling with today? Are they the same thing? And then just talking about the challenges, looking at the opportunities and or prospects, and then talking about how we want to go forward. So we had one person, a presenter from Liberia and Central Liberia, who basically give us their perspective of what they saw the 5 years to be. That, some work has been done, but more needs to
Right.
be done. They talk about the challenges that women continue to face, exclusion, issues, challenges of access to resources and whatnot. It's still there. And we don't expect 5 years to be a time where it will all go. Beijing plus 30 turns 30 this year. 30 years ago, there was this World Conference where women talk about the challenges women were faced with. And those same challenges plus more
Right.
exist today. So the struggle is real, but we continue to push forward.
Yeah. Once again, if you are watching us, you are listening, this is Apes One Radio. Yes, this is your Queen V, the host. I'm here with Lindora. She's such an amazing woman. Yeah, she's empowering the women, the Liberia. She's their leader too. Yes. Once again, Miss Lindora, your LDDWYF concept note stated that the volume sought to foster collaboration, recognize the CSW, and provide the Liberians the chance to learn from experience, keep raising their voice, and develop their advocacy and leadership potentials. Between now and the last season or in recent times, how high do you think Liberian women have raised their voice regarding the issue they face? And through what medium do they do that?
Thank you. When I look back to and this is a brief conversation that I had with the minister when I met her, when she came and I met her at the permanent mission in March. Uh, I went to say hi and I said to her, Madam Minister, don't forget our recommendation, because one of the recommendations we've made is that we want to have a post CSW meeting, meaning after March there needs to be a meeting of all stakeholders in Liberia
Okay.
to talk about the recommendations coming out of the Global Commission on the Status of Women, what recommendations came out of our discussions, and how do we want to work together as women leaders, as government agency, as government, looking to the private sector and whatnot. In Liberia, there is that platform for engagement, for interaction. It's not like the strongest, but it's there, it's working, and it's commendable because that has been happening over time since the establishment of the Ministry of Gender in Liberia. They have served, the ministry has served as that lead coordinator from government's perspective, from government's angle, to mobilize the women across the country.
Mm.
And there's confidence
Right.
in what happens at that level. So when the ministry calls, with the support of UN Women and other government agencies, when the ministry calls, women show up.
Mm.
When the civil society through Wongosol or other bigger networks, when they call and the minister is available, they show up. And so when the Liberian delegation come to Liberia, I mean to New York, it's not civil society under one umbrella and this other, this group under another umbrella. What is also fascinating over the last couple of years with the use of WhatsApp, there is a WhatsApp chat room
Mm.
of delegates that come to New York. So even before they come information, they use that platform to engage. Meetings are being called. Last year, I just said, oh, I just went on Facebook to try to find something to listen to.
Okay.
And before then, I checked the women's chat room. I'm in the women's chat room in
Mm.
Liberia. So conversations that's happening in the women's chat room in Liberia, I'm part of that. I'm like in two or three of those chat rooms. So I
Nice.
see what's happening.
Mhm.
And women debate issues, women trash out, if there are issues to talk about it, what are we doing? So platforms exist, and which is very encouraging. And I think it just needs to be strengthened. But those platforms do exist in the diaspora here. I know that there are other organizations. What we are hoping to do is to try to connect with other organizations to see how we have a platform for everybody. And we are trying to help create that platform for everybody to come together and collaborate. We can have different focuses. Our focus can be different. We can work on different themes, but have that one platform to talk and engage. And this platform for us is not just for Liberian women. Uh, we have had the president of the Ghanaian Council come, Ms. Cynthia Eagman come and present at our second second or first she was there. She presented to tell us how the Ghanaian women are doing. We hope to have other women from other platforms come, from other countries come and also engage.
Okay. So, what is the place of the Liberian child?
The
What is
Liberian
their
child,
place? Yeah, in
the,
this.
the Liberian child is under the wings of the mothers.
Okay. I love that.
Because we're bringing the young people. We're
Yeah.
bringing the young because we're bringing the young people to the platform, to also air their views. For example, this year we had one of the presenters was Hannah George. Hannah George is a young high school graduate. She just graduated last year, and she's physically challenged. And this is a young woman that I met on one of my trips. I had gone to do uh, um, a youth engagement session, and she came. I saw her. She would take her wheelchair, fold it, put it on the bike, hop on the bike behind drivers, and then
Mm.
take her around. And when she came and I interacted with her, and I looked at her and said, she's pretty smart. And I said, I want you to be my
She.
friend. And she said, no,
Okay.
I want you to be my mom. And she has called me mom since.
Oh,
But
nice.
Hannah was the one selected by their group to present this year. And she presented. Her points were pretty straightforward. Interestingly, key things that she referenced was the need for peace education, given the issues of youth violence and the vulnerability that young people face. She emphasized peace education so much that I just said to her, well, Hannah, I think that message is just on point because we have the Koreans in the hall. We are discussing peace education initiatives with them.
Right.
And here you come with your statement and hounding, that message of the need to really elevate the peace education campaign. So it was so beautiful. So the mothers are there, the women are there, the leaders are there, the young people are on the platform. Our hope is that as we go along, through the empowerment for young people, those young people will develop their initiatives that will target the children. The women leaders will develop their community, their village initiatives that will target the children.
Mm.
So we are there to lead and guide the process in partnership with others, and then help find resources. But we want them to, because they are closest to the problem, we want them to tackle it directly.
Thank you,
You're
Lindora.
welcome.
Back to the team of CWL 69. What did the LDDWYF pointed as the lesson drawn from the past?
The lesson, one key lesson drawn for the past, again, that past is looking at our 5 years. One lesson is that we've been talking and talking and talking. We don't, and I remember, I think in 2023, our that was like the third session. No, yeah, thereabout at our 2023 meeting. One of the in Sierra Leone, they would say "Boku talk," and during my presentation, I said this is not an initiative to be a sort of Boku talk, where we
Okay.
just come for Facebook pictures or for the show, just come and talk about stuff and say what happens in Rome stays in Rome. This is not one of those things.
Right.
We want to be able to come sincerely to do what we are doing here and go back, share the word, share, about what happened. Not everybody can come to New York. A lot of people go to these embassies, they get denied visas. And so they're frustrated. They are excited to come, but they don't come. But if you don't come, help them understand that if they don't come, then all is not lost. And that's the beauty
Mm.
that the social media adds to this meeting.
Right.
It allows others to be in a village, to be on a farm, to connect to our platform. And so that's one big lesson learned, that we just talk and talk and talk. And in terms of follow ups, we are not doing follow ups, and we need to do that. And it's on that basis that even before we realize it as an organization, we realize it as a host and lead,
Mm.
that we've been talking things that we want done or we have discussed with our partners. Let's do this afterwards. It doesn't happen. And that is why we came up, even before the session, we came up with the proposal and recommendation to our partners, to the Ministry of Gender Development and Social Protection, saying to them, we are going to New York. But one of the things that we want to see as a follow up is that in country post CSW meeting. But last year, the ministry did a smaller one because every year, September, they have to begin preparing their report for the following year. And so that post CSW meeting will also help to make things better.
Thank you so much, Landora.
You're welcome.
Is there something your networking should have done better?
In terms of what?
I know you are organizing, connecting. Is there something that you think you could have done better? along the journey?
Well, like I said, this has been a beautiful journey, not without challenges. But
Okay.
one thing that I always, or I wish we would have gotten to at this point,
Okay.
was to have more commitment on the part of volunteers, increased commitment on those that say, I step up, I stand with you, I see you, I feel you, I understand the vision, and so I'm all in. Some people come, and because of all the struggles in this country, some people, a lot of those who have volunteers, they had volunteered, they have like 2 3 jobs, and so the very little time that they have for themselves is like, okay, I get the impression that sometimes it's like, oh, let's make Lindora feel good. And when I get that feeling, then it tells me that you haven't gotten the vision.
Mm.
You don't understand the vision. Because those who have understood the vision
Mm-hmm.
and they feel it, I know it when I see them. I know it when I talk to them. And I've gotten a few people like that. They are in the background. Some of them are just too busy, but they tell me, you know what? Whatever you need, call on me. But it's one thing to call, but I need people to be there to help me. If I had that team of committed people, by now we would have raised money for more actions. But because we haven't gotten to that point where we would, like pull the staff together, the team together to do real high level fundraising to get us to where we are at. We did a strategic plan, for example, 3 years ago. No, the strategic plan actually starts from 2023 to 2026. So we
Okay.
are like in our second year of implementation. That strategic plan, the research, I did a lot of research, engaged with other partners, brought the team on board, we debated the issues and everything. We developed our 3 year strategic plan. The budget for that plan is over $3 million.
Wow.
How
That's
much do we
great.
raise? We have not even raised the first $50,000
Mm.
in the life of this foundation. But the money we get, we are grateful. Individuals contribute money, staff members, those that are committed, contribute money. If we have an activity, they say, Lindora, don't worry, we are with you. This is my contribution. That's how we go. I, as a founder and executive director, I have been investing, donating a bigger portion of that amount. It's very little, but we are doing big things, and I know we'll get there.
Yes, thank you, Landora. If you're watching us, this is Upes One Radio. Yes, I'm your host, Queen V. I'm here with your wonderful woman, Landora, and I think she's doing amazing job. Please, if you are watching, all the women, yes, she need your support. Yeah, is one way to
Yeah.
say I'm here, call me, and it's one way to say I'm ready to
Your
do it.
time, your money, whatever.
So please, you have to be
Yeah.
ready for this job. She need your devotion. That's what she need right now. Somebody who say, yes, I'm ready to do it, not just saying in action.
Yep.
Yeah. And we need the money. The money. Money does everything. Money does everything. Anything you can do to support this group because it's all about women and our children. And without
And
these
our
children
communities.
and our communities, there you go. Without these children, we are nobody. We are nobody. They are our futures. Like I love kids. So please let's help and support this amazing program. And she's ready. So just support her with everything. All right. God bless you. What's your level of confidence that the LDDWYF will march faster towards its goals after CWS 69?
I'm very confident. I was speaking to one of the women leaders who's an attorney from Liberia.
Okay.
She's also the board chair of the Women NGO Secretariat, Ms. Fasia Harris. And she said, Lindora, this initiative is growing.
It is.
We need to do something, next year so that so that it gets even bigger because it's growing. People are ready, I'm really impressed.
Mm.
And I said to her, oh, yeah, we have also said to the minister that we are looking forward to having a post CSW in Liberia. She said, that would be so exciting. And then my husband is also very supportive of this work. He said to me, it might be also very interesting for you to have that in person meeting where you are in Liberia with the team and others now from the US join via Zoom. And I said, that is going to be very interesting. So, just like I said, it's growing. we have gotten these positive feedbacks. And every time I hear that, I get even more excited and start thinking. One of the things that we do every year before the event is try to develop flyers, send a save the date, get people to register before time and whatnot. And I just said to the team, you know what? We are going to develop an event website. So all year round, we talk about it. Those who are interested, those who want to go to New York, like you, Queen V, you can just go to our website and find the event information, see how much it costs for the bundle. If you want to be with the team, we can begin arranging with hotels early,
Right.
earlier in advance, because a lot of people come from the continent. It's their first time. They don't even know where to find good hotels. The meetings are so many that you need to be close. And when it comes, by the time January hits, all of the hotel cost goes up. So if we start planning ahead of time, so there are ideas popping up, and I'm very confident and hopeful. I look forward to that moment when a lot of women from Columbus will be on a bus, having fun, chatting, and driving to New York to attend that meeting, but also create more spaces for the other women that are part of the collective here. The CWC, the Columbus Women Connect, can have their own initiative.
Right.
They can be there in another space. All you have to do, the process is there. And so I see it being very big beyond me. And as I get up and work on this foundation every day, I work on it as if I, were to step aside, there will be a strong institution for someone else to come and pick on from where I leave it. It's going to be a big shoe, but if the systems and structures in place, then
Okay.
it's going to help. And that for me is always a key concern. And that's why funding our initiative is so important. So that it's not just tied to me, but that we build the systems and structures that people come after me would drive through and get it going.
Thank you, Lindora. So, women in Columbus, you hear that, please.
Columbus, all across the United
All
States.
that close, come in
Yeah.
numbers. If you are New York, Virginia, New Jersey, please just
Oh
connect.
yeah, and even talking about that, last year, for example, the president of the Liberian Association, she presented. She came in with a program manager. We've had people come from Delaware.
Mm,
We've had people join from Lebanon.
okay.
So far, we've had people join from 7 countries participate in the event. We've had over 500 people participate so far.
That's amazing. Blackfly and personally, how much distance do you think women have covered 30 yards after banging? Some say it's still men's word.
Yeah, I mean it's a good question in terms of Beijing plus 30.
Okay.
Most times since we did, I mean, since the CSW opened up, like 2023, that was the first in-person one.
Mm,
Because we have had other activities, I haven't had the opportunity to, or the chance, not the opportunity's been there. I haven't had the chance to attend more of the UN meetings. This time around, I said to my colleague, you know what? I'm coming to New York. We have our events. We have different stuff. We also had we kind of like soft launched our not soft launch because it was an actual meeting. We did our first financial literacy workshop with another partner of the Wealthy Ones. We also did that. So I said, I'm coming to New York. We'll do our activities. I want to attend some of the other UN meetings this time and just hear more about what's coming out of this. I mean, there's UN TV, by the way. People can go online and just watch those videos. The Secretary General of the United Nations had a town hall with civil society, and I attended.
okay.
And coming back to your question, not to be long, one of the questions posed to the Secretary General was, when is the UN going to have its first female Secretary General? And there was silence in the room.
Can you imagine?
There was silence in the room. And so, a man's world, but yeah, I say it's also a women's world.
Amen.
In terms of navigating the systems and the structures that we have to deal with all the time, the men seem to be the ones that have led throughout. Outside those structures and systems, women are there. But women also help to build those structures and systems.
Mm,
But I think as women, sometimes we get so overwhelmed that we forget the roles that we play in these different places. And we tend to overlook that. We have so much power and potential to lead that sometimes we get bogged down with the problems. And so by coming together and reassuring ourselves and learning more about what's happening around us and finding ways to strategize, that's the only way we can be able to take that big leap. And that is why, as a foundation, we are very much intentional about mobilizing women, contributing to the growth of an expanded women's movement, women and youth movement, through which our voices get heard in every sector across the globe. What we are doing is not new, it's not so unique to us, but what may be unique is the way we are going at it from a global perspective, connecting with the local. I say it's different. And so this world is our world. At that Beijing conference, where the 1995 conference, Hillary Clinton is known for making a very famous statement.
Mm.
Women's rights are human rights. Women's rights are human rights. It's at that conference that they came up with that action plan that we celebrated 30 years of this year. And so the issues are real, the issues are there, but should we continue crying? No.
No.
We have the potential to do more. If we are not, and I always say on this radio that I experienced the Liberian War. I participated in women's peace activism. What led us to doing that? We said the men failed us. We were going to stand up, we were going to rise to ensure that the war ended, and we did. What did we say? The men were our brothers, they were our husbands, they were our sons, they were our nephews, and whatnot. And so we would stand up to them, and we did. And the war ended with the support of others. So when women want to do it, we know how to do it. But sometimes we get so frustrated that it's a back and forth. Because when you think you take 10 steps forward, or 2 steps forward, you take 10 backwards. And look at what's happening in the current political climate.
Mm.
It adds to the challenges of women. Before this administration, for example, there were so many issues of access to finance. Women are not having the support. Then you have a government that comes in and pulls back the support from USAID, through which you have a lot of support for women empowerment around the world. How do we handle this? The UN is struggling. They are discussing. Our governments are saying, our governments, a lot of them have also been so dependent. We have governments that have bulk of their budgets coming from the outside. So the world is now crippled because of that. But I say to the other women, take courage, because through all these times since we started, I've been saying to the women, it's time to invest in ourselves. We don't need to continue to look for money on the outside. So the Bunk County Women and Youth Development Corporation in Liberia, when we went 2023 to launch the foundation and launch that collective, we did a fundraising, and we said we will raise our own funds. They say put your money where your mouth is.
Yes.
We will raise our own funds.
Mhm.
So they raised that money. They have an account. All these years since they were launched, the money we've been using are money that we generated. Excuse me, we generated from that program. And so the fundraiser that we're going to have this year was to get more funding to continue to support their work on the ground. In December this year, we are looking to having our second conference, where we now say it's been 2 years. What have we done? What do we need to do more? And how do we get money to move forward? So yeah, it's a man's world, but it's also a women's world, and we need to step up.
It is. It is. It's a woman's word, and our men out there, yeah, we need your
The
support.
men depend on us.
Yeah.
Don't you see it? Don't you know it? They depend on us.
You know, we are the roots.
We
So we always there for them.
we're everything.
We are mothers.
The men depend on us for a lot because they recognize the strength that we have.
Yep.
But we also depend on them because we
them.
know they have another kind of strength that together makes this world a beautiful place. And so we just need to figure out our stuff and get going.
Our strength. Thank you, Miss Lindora. Yeah, man, we appreciate you. If you're watching it, this is Apes One Radio. Keep supporting. Yes. Man, if you have money, please push these women. We're doing all this for the future children. We're doing all this for the kids. Yeah, and it's going to help a lot. Lindora, any appeals, upcoming events?
Oh yeah, like I just mentioned, in December I'm going to Liberia, hopefully.
Yeah.
I'm going to Liberia. We're going to have our second annual Women and Youth Conference in Liberia.
Okay.
But that's in December. Before that time, what we're hoping to do is in April. That's a few days from now. Hopefully around like the 15th, we hope to basically launch the Global Youth Exchange and Volunteers Program. That program that would take advantage of the existence of social media to educate for peace, to build youth capacities when it comes to issues of entrepreneurship, financial literacy, and get them to connect with other young people within the region and across the globe. We look forward to having young people join the platform online, the virtual platform from different countries and learn lessons. We look forward to using that platform as an opportunity for young people in different parts of the world to understand some of the realities of young people in the United States, that they don't see it as all grain, but that would be a platform through which even adults will learn. So be beyond the learning, we hope to attract coaches and mentors that will come and work with us to support the young people that we'll be engaging with. And so that program, we are finalizing the concept, and we hope to launch it by mid-April. So that's also coming up. The Columbus Women Connect here in Columbus, Ohio. We have a couple of activities that we've also identified. One of those is to have a mental health and wellness month for women in May. We were hoping to have Ms. Lima Roberta Bowie, one of the 2011 Nobel Peace Prize laureates who participated in our event virtually. She actually sent in a video last year. She had said to us she was going to try to come to Columbus this month, last weekend actually. That didn't happen. While in New York, I spoke to her, but every time I called her, she was pretty engaged. And so I know she was supposed to be traveling to Italy. Um, so yeah, she was busy. So we're going to follow up with her to see whether she can come in. One of the ladies said to me last night, "Oh, maybe we should have her on Zoom." And I said, "Well, I'll reach out to her again. We'll keep bugging her until she can come to Columbus." And so that's in the air for time being. At the conference last year, the Women's Conference, Columbus Women Connect, uh, there was a males group. It's called Veteran FC. They have reached out to us at that conference. Actually, they requested an open partnership. They
Mm.
have a big event. They're all men who love soccer, and they want to have a big soccer tournament here in August. And they want us to work with them to host that. According to them, they are bringing over 10,000 people to the city of Columbus.
Wow.
So there are things happening at the moment. What we are trying to do is to gather individual events from our members from the Columbus Women Connect,
Mhm.
and then see how through the year we can support them. But through the collective, we don't want to give too much activities. Then everybody's too busy. So 3, 4 activities during the year, and obviously we have the Columbus Conference in November this year. So there are a couple of things coming up. We hope to launch a scholarship and grant scheme for those in Africa, and eventually raise money. So along the way, we will launch a fundraising campaign because some of those schools in Africa, $200 is an annual school fees, excluding other things. So if you can contribute $200, $300, $100, $20, $10, whatever comes in the bucket, want to be able to support young people, their initiatives, launch a grant scheme, but also continue to support the women as they go along.
Thank you, Lindora. Yes, once again, if you are watching, this is Alpes One Radio. We are here with my producer, Mr. Enrest, and I'm here with this amazing woman talking about connecting all over the world. Is there any contact, any website that people can call if they want to send money, if you want to connect with the program?
Oh yeah, we have a website. So just go to https b4pcodefound.org, and you will see our information for donation.
Contacts? Any contacts?
Uh, in terms of contact, yeah, we have an email address,
Okay.
management at b4pcodefound.org, and phone number 614-369-8721.
Thank you so much, Lindora. So this is Alpes One Radio. Yeah. Queen V, I'm your host. Yes, we're bringing the program to the end, and I want to tell you, please, whatever you are doing, any little. money can go far. Yeah, there's nothing small. We need
Nothing
your
small.
support. We need your help. And if you're out there, you want to join, please kindly join. This is all for the future for our youth. All
Exactly.
right. Thank you for coming. And we are blessed to have you this morning.
Thank you so much. And maybe before as a closing word, I just want to say Eid Mubarak to all of our Muslim friends, family members here across the US, across the globe. My husband is Muslim, and so I'm also going to be celebrating. So Eid Mubarak to all of us. May God hear all of our prayers. Thank you.
Amen. And I went to Islamic school, so I also say, uh, is it Isha Allah?
Inshallah.
God bless you.
Thank you.